Hello everyone. In this video we're going to cover the Ranger leveling. Basically we're going to cover the weapons, the utilities, and your traits so that you have the quickest and easiest leveling path put out before you. When looking at the Ranger, the most important thing is obviously your weapons, because that's what's going to allow you to do the damage you need to do to level quickly. Unfortunately, it's pretty much non-negotiable what weapons you choose. You're going to want to go with short bow for single target damage, and then axe and warhorn for multiple target damage, and also some of the utility for moving around the world. The reason we choose short bow is because it's got a high rate of attack speed for single target. It's got a lot of utility in that it puts a lot of bleeds on the target. It can also poison the target. It's got a jump back, a stun, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's also got a slow, so that helps out a lot also. When it comes to the axe and warhorn, you're going to want to use these for AoE packs, like when there's an event going on, or if you accidentally pull too much, because your auto attack Ricochet will bounce to multiple targets, and your second skill Split Blade will do a fan out in front of you, which does damage to all targets. You also then have your fifth skill, which gives you movement speed, fury, and might, so that increases your critical strike chance and your attack power. Now we're going to take a look at utilities. The utilities are actually also pretty much locked in place. For your healing skill, you're going to want to use Troll Unguent. The reason for this is, by far, it is one of the best heals in the entire game. It's HP per second, so it's a heal over time. So you want to make sure that you use it when you're at about 50% or 25% health, so that you don't just get insta-killed when you go to use it, because it does have a slight cast time. But other than that, it is really powerful. It heals both you and your pet, no matter how far away your pet may be from you. Moving on to the other skills that you're going to be using for utilities, I personally enjoy Quickening Zephyr. It gives you a lot of burst because it increases the speed at which you attack massively. When you use Quickening Zephyr, you're going to want to make sure that you have no heals going, like your Troll Unguent, or any regens that are nearby, because you won't receive the healing from it. But at the same time, like I said, it increases your attack speed by double. So just auto attack while your Quickening Zephyr is up, and you will see massive damage output. If you happen to be flanking the mob you're attacking, it'll also put a lot of bleeds on that target really, really fast. The next utility you're going to want to have is Signet of the Hunt. It's active, I don't use very much, but its passive is well worth it. Basically, the passive increases 10% increased movement speed for you and your pet. So while you're leveling and running around the world, that is invaluable because you can get around a lot faster than anyone else. The final basic utility you're going to be using is Signet of the Wild. Basically what this does is it gives you a passive health regen to you and your pet, which will keep you in the fight a lot longer. That, coupled with Troll Unguent, makes you more or less unstoppable. You will be gaining health faster than most of the time mobs can do damage to you, especially if you're using the bear pet. Finally, we get to the elite skill. Rampage as 1 is you'll get access to it at level 30, and it is probably the best elite skill you will have for both leveling and endgame. There are other skills that you can use, but I personally find Rampage as 1 very, very powerful. It grants your pet stability, which means it can't be stunned, knockback, launched, knocked down, sink or float, which is underwater combat. It can't be feared or dazed, so that's really powerful. It also gives your pet a 20% critical strike chance and gives both of you movement speed. So that is amazing. It also has a nice little ability that basically every time your pet attacks, it grants you might, and every time you attack, you grant your pet might. Keep in mind, one of the best combos you can do is Rampages 1 and Quickening Zephyr. The reason for this being is pop Rampages 1, flank the target while your pet has aggro on it, pop Quickening Zephyr and auto attack. You will stack on the might stacks to your pet really, really fast. The highest I've ever gotten is 25, which is the max that you can have, and 25 stacks of might on your pet is devastating. The next thing we're going to cover for leveling is the traits. The most important things for leveling are marksmanship, skirmishing, and wilderness survival. As you're leveling, when you first get access to it, you'll only be able to put 10 points into each one. Then as you level more, you'll be able to put 20 points in each one, and finally you'll be able to put 30 points in. What you're looking at here is max level. Obviously, always start with skirmishing. That gives you precision, which will increase your critical damage, and also critical damage done by 30%. So those are your bread and butter for leveling. After that, once you've maxed that one out, you're going to want to start working on marksmanship. Marksmanship increases your power, which is the damage you do, and your condition duration, which is your bleeds, your poisons, your slows, things like that. Finally, for a little bit of survivability, we go into wilderness survival. That gives us toughness, which increases the damage that we can take, and also increases condition damage, which basically means that your bleeds will do more damage, your poison will do more damage, and anything that does damage that is a debuff on the target will do more damage. Looking at the trait slot skills, I personally use for skirmishing Sharpened Edges. It gives you a chance to cause bleeding on critical hits, which is great for leveling because it gives you another chance to stack more bleeds on the target. And the more bleeds you have, the faster you kill the target. I also use Companion's Might. Basically what that does is when I critically hit, which I will be doing often, it grants Might to my pet. You can see how that can stack with Rampage's 1 and Quickening Zephyr to be a massive, massive damage boost. Finally, Carnivorous Appetite. That allows your pet to gain health every time you critically hit. That also is really great mixed with a bear pet for leveling because your bear never dies, ever. In the marksmanship tree, the first one I focus on is Steady Focus. It increases my damage by 10% when Endurance is full. Endurance is this yellow bar down here, right above your health bar. That is what you use to dodge roll. With short bows, you can use your third skill to dodge backwards, which is usually more than enough to keep you going because it hits the target and gives you swiftness, which can keep you out of range of them while you still attack them. Occasionally you will have to use your dodge roll, so don't worry about losing that 10% damage, but most of the time you'll have that 10% damage always up. The second trait is Piercing Arrows. That's all arrow attacks pierce the targets. This is invaluable for times when you have 1 or 2 targets. You don't want to switch to your axe because it's not going to really get them down as fast as the short bow can. What you want to do is you want to line the 2 targets up, target the one in the back, and it will hit both targets. It will also apply both bleeds, any poisons, or anything like that, so it's really, really useful. The final trait we're going to use is Remorseless. It regains Opening Strike when you kill a foe. Opening Strike is a skill that is only in the marksmanship tree. Basically, it's these here. It causes vulnerability when you first enter combat on the target. Your pets also have Opening Strike, which means more vulnerability. And then Precise Strike, which means Opening Strike will always critically hit. So your first attack in every fight will always critically hit and cause vulnerability from both you and your pet. That's really great. If you're attacking more than one target, because of Remorseless, when you kill that target, you get to Opening Strike the next target too, which again is really, really good. Moving down to Wilderness Survival, like I said, that just gives us a little bit of survivability. It increases your endurance regeneration by 50%, which stacks in with the 10% damage increase when endurance is full. If you have to dodge, well, your endurance will come back faster now. That's great. The trait skill here I use is Soften the Fall. There's a lot of times where you'll be jumping around, like doing jump puzzles, or when you're trying to get a particularly hard vista, where falling down will kill you. Soften the Fall actually will keep you alive. Most falls that would have killed you, unless you're falling from an extremely high height, will not kill you. They'll bring you low, but you'll survive it. And that's about all there is to the Ranger for leveling. Just follow this guide and you'll be 80 in no time. Happy hunting!